1 second. You'll come get this one? Come here, Mama.
From here. Both. This is a fucker. Jesus. MedBix Webcast is a new kind of healthcare media channel to break the silo mentality and foster interdisciplinary thinking. Our mission is to fill that gap and to create a curiosity through different lenses, tapping the passion that guided the historical figures in medicine and bringing present-day groundbreaking research to the front lines. We interview physicians and leaders in the industry about present-day healthcare challenges on our live podcast. Hi. Okay, now I see. Yeah. Welcome to the MedBix Webcast. Let me turn off the music. I had some days are funniest days. Yeah, this is welcome to the MedBix Webcast. I am in a very strange situation here. I'm on vacation in a hotel. The Wi-Fi is not good in hotel. I am moving around to find a good thing. So it is just you have to put up with me a little bit. It is kind of strange. Okay, so Nothing much I could do about it. Diana Mercado is here. Let me tell you a little bit about, what I found out is, um, okay, turn off the power. Okay, I don't know what is that sound is coming from. Okay, but anyway, it's all mess here. Um, yeah, Diana Mercado is here. She's going to be, I'll bring her to the main stage and soon. Let me talk about a little bit about today's podcast. Maybe, yeah, sorry about that. Today I am, my daughter got married this weekend, last weekend, and I moved, I traveled to Atlanta and then staying in hotels in kind of a little bit of odd situation, a little bit. So hotel Wi-Fi's are always suck, and outside is extremely cold. I can't go anywhere outside, so you have to put up with me. But second thing is, I want to talk with you about the topic she's Diana Mercado, Dr. Mercado is going to talk about is about the ADHD. If she can talk a lot more about it. What I found out is a mysterious connection between the ADHD, which is the functional impairment, and the imprisonment. The prisons. The people who have ADHD are more likely to go to prisons, particularly minority population, because they don't get diagnosed so earlier at the early stage. The second part is interesting. The physicians itself have a higher incidence of ADHD. Not only physicians, medical students have a higher rate of incidence of ADHD than general population. That's quite interesting, So we will talk with her. Let me bring. Then after that, I'm going to present a topic on very interesting. His name is Chandrasekhar Venkataraman. We're going to talk about a very interesting topic about that, and also you will know about it, whether Jesus got married or not, through history, scientific discovery. We're going to find out about that. But his discoveries are omnipresent in the medicine. I'm going to talk a little bit about that. But let me bring Dr. Diana Mercado from Victoria, Texas. Dr. Diana Mercado, welcome. Let me see. Bring here. Yeah, Dr. Mercado, can you see me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yes, I can hear you. I can see you. So, Dr. Mercado,
Perfect.
welcome to the MedBix webcast.
I'm so glad to be here.
So, tell me a little bit of background of yours. So, what is your personal background, a little bit, and then we can go with the next topic.
Sure. Well, my parents were immigrant workers. They're from Mexico, and they were given permission in the 1980s to come to Seattle and to California to pick the produce. And one time on the way back, I was born in Texas. And so even though I was born in Texas, I grew up in Mexico till I was 10. And then my mom, I'm the oldest of three. My mom said, okay, 3 kids later, and your dad is working, and I think we need to all be in Texas together. And so that's when we moved. It was only really like an hour and a half from Mexico into the US. And, but of course, it was a different life, learning a different language. And I was pretty active as a kid, and I was very always wanting to learn and do different things. So eventually, every 6 weeks or so, I got promoted grades until I caught up with where I was supposed to be based on my age. And then I ended up deciding that I wanted to, I thought I was going to do business. And so I actually got my scholarship to go to St. Mary's for business. But once I was there, I realized I wasn't even in that for one semester. Then I decided to switch to biology and chemistry, and I became also a science teacher because I wanted to go into the medical field. And
Very
so,
interesting. Yeah.
mhm.
Go ahead. So, yeah, it's a very interesting story. You have amazing story. Born to a migrant family and then became a doctor. is a tribute to your family and your parents of the dedication, and you have the special dedication to be a doctor. That's commendable, really. Let me ask you a question on while I'm talking about why you're. Tell me what is ADHD. A little bit about that. What is the a little bit give a background about ADHD.
Sure. So ADHD stands for Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder.
Result.
But I think it's a misnomer because I think it should really be called Attention Regulation Syndrome, because people many don't realize that um, that it's not that they can't focus, because
Yeah.
sometimes they hyper focus on things that they do enjoy. So it can be, so you can focus, but not for as long as you want us to, for as long as you need us, uh, on what you want us to do, right? And so the things that are interesting for some of us, we tend to do really good on that. And the things that seem a little bit boring or too tedious, sometimes we can't. And therefore, some people might be missed from the diagnosis because they might be very smart and do very well in the things that they like to do, and then they sometimes get labeled as lazy because they're like, oh, they can't even do the normal functional stuff that other people do. And so yeah, so I want you to think about it as a neurological executive disorder, um, where there's multiple things that are playing into part, like maybe you're having problems with organization or with time management or with procrastination or emotional regulation. So it's not just the impulsivity or the hyperactivity or the inattentiveness that, but there's other um, things, and it's genetic. And so I feel like there's a big link between maybe immigrants, because if you think about it, um, you have to like have some guts to like move to a different country, maybe not even knowing the language, and take some big risks to be able to do whatever you need to do to help your family survive and thrive. And many times, you don't make it mean anything. You might be working 2 or 3 or 4 times as hard as some of the other people around you, but you think like it's either I succeed or I succeed. And so
Yeah.
so I think there's a big correlation with immigrants, because the genetics to survive in a different area, that impulsivity and that desire.
Yeah. So my ex-wife used to tell me that I have the ADHD. I never been diagnosed. It's a very very interesting point. He said that it is immigrants have this special this kind of a because of moving country to country. They have this ADHD automatic kind of develop. They develop auto ADHD. That's kind of interesting observation. Tell us a little bit about it and how you got into why you are so much interested in ADHD as a family practitioner.
Yeah, so I myself got diagnosed in my first year of medical school. And honestly, I had no idea, because it was pointed out to me from one of my roommates. Actually, she said, Diana, there's something going on with you. I see you studying 80, 90 hours, and I'm even using your notes, and I'm scoring better than you are. Like, what's going on? And at that point, I didn't realize if it was anxiety, because I had all this pressure on myself trying to do the best that I could. I had taken so many loans. I was the first one in my family to go to med school, and so I didn't know if it was just like testing anxiety, or if it was maybe I was depressed. My dad had just gotten diagnosed with cancer, and so I wasn't sure what was going on. But when I had the neurological test, it was like an 8 to 9 hour test. Like, they told me you're 2 years behind where your classmates should be based on the level of education that you have obtained this far. And that was not what was um, embarrassment or shameful for me, but it was the actual diagnosis. Because in my mind, I thought, oh my God, I'm broken. Everybody's going to find out that I have this ADHD thing, and they're going to like think I'm a bad doctor. They're going to label me as incompetent. So I really internalized that, and I didn't, they really, when I got diagnosed, I just got told, here's a pill and that should help. But I wasn't really informed like what else I could do. Like I would, and I just kind of like left it at that, even though the medication was working um, a little bit. Like I didn't realize at that time, I was a first year medical school, so I didn't realize to ask like, oh, can you give me a long acting medication instead of a short acting medication? So it would work for 4 hours, and I was like, oh my God, those are 4 magical hours that I can do everything that I need to do in 24 hours. I can do in 4 hours. And so later on, I learned to ask for the medication to be adjusted. But when I became a physician, and I had to see my own like physician outside of the student health clinic. I was told by that new physician, he didn't even give me more than 2 minutes of his time, and was like, well, you're a physician, you should know that you outgrow ADHD, you don't need any medications. And like he walked out, and that kind of like made me feel more embarrassed because I didn't know that I outgrew it. Nobody had taught me that. Obviously, I had just gotten diagnosed. And so that became me ignoring my own ADHD for 10 years. And I didn't realize I was ignoring it. I just thought that that was the norm. Like I didn't realize that working 20 to 30 hours unpaid outside of work to try to complete charts and labs and stuff like that was not the norm for every other physician. I thought that that's just came with the territory. I love for focusing on my patients, and I would joke around, and I was like, how come I just killed it? How come nobody was recording that? Why do I now have to do the boring part and sit down and write notes and look at labs? Like, I love talking to the patient, and I figured out the problem. Like, why do I now have to do the boring part? So fast forward to the pandemic, when the systems that I was using no longer was helping me. And because I was working outpatient in the clinic, and I was working inpatient at the hospital, and I was also covering the nursing homes, and I was, the clinical medical director, and I was the clinical nursing home director. So I had all these leadership roles and responsibilities. I just assumed that everything was the
And
norm. Yeah.
sorry,
And then
one second.
it,
I'm trying this. I'm doing from iPad. I never did that. It's a little bit of a challenging to me. Sorry about
no,
that.
no
Go ahead.
problem. So then I started to realize that maybe me working that hard had to do with my ADHD. And so I actually still did not put the connection together. I joined a course that was called Empowering Women Physician, that was offering coaching. And that was the first time I got ever introduced to coaching. I joined it because I thought I was joining a leadership training thing. And then I came to realize that whatever that my thoughts like had some influence on my feelings, and that those feelings then caused me to do something or not do something, and therefore I was going to get a result with that. And from there I came they pointed out to me that however I wanted to look at the
Mm,
diagnosis, if I wanted to see the diagnosis as, you know, the best thing ever or the worst thing ever, that was up to me. And that it wasn't any different from having high blood pressure or cancer or anything like that. Of course, cancer, you can't really do something about it. But if you had diabetes or high blood pressure, I mean, you can still like modify stuff. Like you could still sleep better, you can still try to control what kind of diet you have, you could still find resources to enhance you. And so from there I started to ponder whether other people like my like who were physicians might be going through something similar. And I started to talk about it. I went on a podcast that was in February of 2021. um, and a lot of people started to reach out to me after that podcast and ask me if I wanted to um, set up anything like a group to help them navigate the situation. And that's when I started slowly deciding to become a life coach myself and then an ADHD coach myself, in order to obtain tools to help myself and then my patients in the clinic and then clients throughout the United States and Canada and different parts of the world.
Sorry about that. I'm having a lot of technical issues, but you're fine. Your presentation is fine. I wanted to ask you why you wanted to help other physicians to do the ADHD support system. I wanted to ask you about that. Why you wanted to help other physicians in this, because you went through personally. That's what you're saying. So expand on that idea about that.
Yes. So before I realized that some of the things that I wasn't accomplishing weren't necessarily like a character flaw, but it was part of my ADHD. I kind of felt like hopeless. Like I used to think that I was like a half mom, a half doctor, a half friend, because I didn't feel like I was showing up fully like I wanted to show up. And so I started to wonder whether other people had like that similar self esteem issue. Like maybe when people saw me from the outside, they probably saw like, oh my gosh, she's so accomplished. Like, she was the chief here, the chief resident there, like all this stuff. And I came to realize that because of my ADHD, that I had both positive and negative traits. And some of those positive traits were that I was outspoken, that I would ask questions. Whenever something didn't make sense, like I was like, why are we following a protocol that was implemented 20, 30 years ago? That physician is no longer here, that no longer applies. Like, why can't we adapt it to what is going on today? And so I think in realizing that I had a voice and realizing that we don't have to continue to do things that once made sense if it's not making sense now, would make a difference. So I really wanted to empower other physicians to
Oh
find
my.
tools for themselves, so that
Okay.
they could not feel like they were,
Yeah.
um,
Sorry about that.
like
It's
not
all a
doing well.
little bit is a challenging for me today. So, but I wanted to ask you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, yes,
Okay. So, but on the positive side of the ADHD, I will talk about that. I, my ex-wife used to say I have an ADHD, but I'm a fairly intelligent guy. I am, and also I have hyper focus. I can connect with the unseemingly related subjects. I can connect with. I take the physics. I take the healthcare somewhere. I take the mathematics somewhere. I connect them all together. I could take a geometry, and my MedBix platform actually is connected with the geometry and healthcare. Is unseemingly two areas, but they can provide an excellent solutions and give a greatest solutions. So they say people with ADHD can look at they can see multiple solutions for the problems. So that is how do you foster and nurture that ADHD creativity, and then still manage other areas that are financial side, relationship side, totally fail in that areas. How do you work on that kind of both you can manage a balance out?
yeah. So it was not until like I started to purposely seek out ADHD, continuing medical education lectures, and then I went on to get certified as an ADHD provider, that I started to learn that there were other executive functions, uh, being examples of those. There are 12 executive functions. I didn't know that, emotional regulation was an executive function, or that planning, or that task initiation, task switching, task completion, time management, like all those. When I came to realize that those were just a tool, and that there would be strategies that I could implement to modify and change, then I realized that if I learned more about myself and about my how I think, I came to see ADHD as like being left-handed in a right-handed world. There's nothing wrong with a person who's right-handed or left-handed. It's just different. And so when you realize it's just different, then you become more curious on, okay, how is it different and how can it help me? And so, like you said, people with ADHD are really good at learning. They're really good at literally anything they find interesting. Like they're really good at changing the world, being unique, following their intuition. They tend to be very optimistic. They create things out of something, like you said, you connect the dots that others can't even like fathom how you got there, because you have this ability to think outside the box, and you like to, even if you don't want to, you hyper focus on the things that you like. And sometimes that can be good and bad, because you might get lost in the track of time, and then you miss something that might have been important. And they're risk takers, and they're used to brainstorming and thinking of 10,000 ways to solve a situation. And guess what? This time blindness thing can be a strength, because you might be able to perform very well on a crisis situation. And we tend to have a sense of humor, and we tend to be creative. And yes, we talk a lot, and we talk fast, and so we tend to be very have this authenticity to us.
Yeah, it's very interesting. That probably how do that you have to manage that somehow through what are the treatment options you think? Is it a medications, or the counseling? What are the, or self discipline? How do you manage all these things?
So I mean, you can, exactly like you said, using all the tools. Because I want you to think of ADHD as a spectrum. Like some people, maybe their medicine is literally just running. Like I didn't get diagnosed probably because I was running 10 miles per day in high school. And then in college, like when I wasn't running, I didn't realize until like later that I can put it together. When I wasn't running my first year, like my grades were not the best, and then I started running, and all of a sudden my grades started to like get better and better, and then I started using tutors and stuff like that. But like, how do you manage it? Like with all the things, like making sure you're sleeping, if you can, at least 6 to 7 hours at night. Every time you get your rest, you wake up like with a full battery, you're refreshed. Trying to have a low carb diet, because then that's not going to cause you to be sedentary or develop diabetes or other things that can decrease how sharp you get. The other things would be, of course, medication. There's two types of medications. They have stimulants and non-stimulants. I always say that the medicine is 90% effective for some people, and for 10% of the population, they just cannot tolerate it. And again, it's person to person. But if it does work for you, that's like a really good evidence-based way to manage your ADHD. And I always say that the pills will not teach you the behavioral skills, and that's why it is important to invest in yourself and invest in therapy, uh, cognitive behavioral therapy, so you can understand like why it is that you were doing certain things, and maybe you have a low self-esteem, or why it is that your partner might think that you're impulsive or that you don't care. And sometimes they might label you as like unprofessional, because they're like, oh, she's always late, or he's always late, or he's always interrupting in the middle of a meeting, or unaware that you're interrupting because you don't want to forget to say the critical point that you just thought about as somebody was speaking, right? Unaware that yes, you're late. Yes, you're 10 minutes late, but they don't realize that you went into your house 4 times, and you are earlier than you would have been if you were just meeting your friend. You would have probably like been a whole hour late, and you were just like 5-10 minutes late. They don't realize how much effort it's taking you to function. And part of that time blindness is because you might consider it to be like boring. And so you don't want to go and sit there for 10 minutes because you're like, I have 10 other things I can be doing. I'm going to go do those,
Yeah.
And so that can do that. But you're asking, how can I manage it? So you can manage it through medicine. You can manage it through exercise. You can manage it through meditation or mindfulness exercises, or using tapping, like that's called emotional freedom technique, which is a way to um, process feelings and stuff like that. You can use it, you can manage it, but like I said, by sleeping. So there's so many different ways that you can help your ADHD in order to uh, enhance your strengths and create better like systems with any of the weaknesses that you might be having.
Dr. Mercado, another thing is a lot of doctors under pressure because of technical EMRs, electronic medical records, and then managing all the documentations through the electronic. So a lot of computers are causing a lot of, including me. I'm one of the very good in computers and all those things. I'm having a lot of problems with this today's technology. It's a lot of pressure on people. This pressure is creating so much, not only for individuals, a lot of, it's creating a problem for students, for us, for physicians. Tell us a little bit about that. How we can solve? Is it, how can we manage these technical stressors on us?
Yeah, so I always say that, again, whether you have ADHD or not, what I'm about to say applies to everybody, because if you get this interrupted throughout the day multiple times, you eventually feel like you have ADHD, or if you haven't slept, you eventually feel like you have ADHD. And of course, technology, like you might have, the social media dings, right? Or you might have a lots of emails coming in, or you might have, asked to be jump on this meeting or that meeting. And so it can definitely, you can be feeling like you're pulled in so many directions. And then, of course, as a physician, um, that's the norm, right? Like they're constantly, it doesn't matter whether you're in the ER or you're in the clinic or you're, a radiologist or a pathologist, like you're constantly being asked to socialize and interact and integrate and figure out things. But I think what is the most important thing that one can do is to imagine that at the beginning in the morning, you have a full battery. I call that your executive function battery. Okay. And as you make decisions throughout the day, the more decisions that you make, the more that you feel kind of drained. And so that's why if I were to be like, hey, do you want to have, a margarita with me this morning at 7? You would tell me, no, you're crazy. But if I call you at 7 p.m., like you might actually consider it because you're kind of tired and drained and you had a day, right? And so if throughout the day you purposely begin your morning with, okay, what are my 2 or 3 tasks? What are my intentions for the day? So that if I complete this 1 through 3 tasks, I can say I've been successful. I can say like I've done what I needed. Um, then you can prioritize. And but if you just wait to see and become very responsive, instead, and reactive, instead of like being proactive and again thinking on your feet beforehand, then you end up being and doing what everybody else needed of you, not necessarily what you had told yourself you needed of you. And so that's what I had to learn myself. I had to learn that I had to prioritize myself. I had to learn that I had to be the most important patient in the room. That if I wasn't like taking care of me for my like common obvious needs, like eating or going to the bathroom, or like saying no, don't double book me, because then I won't eat or I won't make it to my kids soccer game or different things like that. If I didn't set any boundaries from a place of just I'm trying to do my self-care, then I became in self neglect, and then I became mad and frustrated and overwhelmed when multiple things were being asked of me throughout the day if I hadn't set the agenda beforehand. So uh, I say that because if somebody comes and asks you for your help, of course, people with ADHD are going to drop everything and do what you need, but we need to figure out whether that they're coming with is a priority with other tasks that we had already been assigned, or is it a like they just need it at some point in the next 5 days and we didn't get told that piece of information because we didn't ask to get clarification, and all of a sudden we dropped the ball on something that was more critical because to us everything seems important. And so sometimes when somebody comes and you would love to help but not in that moment, you got to learn to be like, give me a second, let me finish my thought or whatever, because if you don't give yourself a nugget, by the time you try to get back to what you were doing, 20 minutes have passed because you were thrown into a task switch that you weren't expecting to do.
Let me try again. My okay. You can let me see that both of us can together. Okay, let me try both of us. Oh God. Okay. It took me, see the frustration I went through. I am a fairly good in technology. If I'm frustrated, think about millions of people, what they go through. They say, oh, artificial intelligence, it takes over people. We don't have a common sense things. A lot of things are missing and we get frustrated. It tests your frustration, this technology. It's a long way to go. It's somebody talking nonsense about artificial intelligence taking over humans is a total nonsense. Any mathematician, physicist know that is a total nonsense, and anybody talks like that, they need to be punished, they need to be criminalized, and they need to be put in jail, in my view. But anyway, thank you. Thank you. I'm going to present a topic. Actually, this scientist might had ADHD because he took very unseemingly two very strange concepts. He took it and then connected together. I'm going to present to you. Both we are watched together, okay? Uh,
His name
let
is
us see how it
Chandrasekhara
works. Both are going to
Venkataraman. He
bring
was born in
both of us
Tiruchirappalli,
together.
state of Tamil Nadu,
Let
India.
me,
His
it is
name
a
is
really,
long with the
really,
numerous
oh yeah,
alphabets, but get used for
what
it
I'm going to do.
because the next few decades
Okay,
belongs
what
to this
tab?
man.
Open
He is
again.
descending from
So
heavens
where is my
to destroy
presentation?
cancer. Just not cancer. He is omnipresent
Okay,
in every
guys,
field:
let me
science,
give
medicine, technology,
presentation.
engineering, and even
God,
theology.
some days are
Welcome to the world of
okay.
Raman gadgets.
That is a Diana
Raman probe.
Mercado, Dr.
Point
Mercado.
Raman
How
probe
do
to
you say
anyone and just
another
click
name? Another
flash,
part of the name.
just as you do on your
I wanted to
phone.
ask you
It gives instant result
another part of
that
your
person has a
name.
cancer or not. No elaborate
Oh
testing, no
Lord,
other
please,
diagnostic
can you
testing
hear me?
required. Cancer
Can you hear
detection
me?
in seconds.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Raman
I just
pan.
hear the
Raman
thing in the
pan, point
background.
and click at the finger and tell you the blood sugar levels instant.
Background,
No
okay.
more
What are you
shedding of blood drops by
singing
millions
in the
of
background?
diabetic patients.
I
Raman
I'm
scanner.
hearing the
Just
Raman
place your
Oh,
hand.
this. Okay.
Raman
That
scanner.
is to
Just
do
place
that.
your hand
Just
gently
to
on the
give me
Farmanex
1 second.
Raman scanner. It gives you the fruit
I
and vegetable
am
intake and in correlation with the
totally today. Just to give me
antioxidant
one
activity.
second. Okay. Okay. I don't know why this is to be, yeah. Okay. Probably you must have seen just, yeah. I'll try my best. Raman application is, yeah, that's a Diana Mercado. I was talking, sorry guys, today I had such a hard time with this technology. It's testing my patience, my ADHD, everything is testing. But anyway, they tell you, the technology people tell you, oh, you can use any computer. I'm using my iPad and it is just, you have a different set of settings and all those things. But anyway, but let me go with this one. Raman applications in healthcare.
It's not me. My name is Ramana, but it's not me there. I want to tell you about that guy in a second. It's a drug. Why don't you put your mute on your phone? It is a if it is a Dr. Mercado. Can you put a mute on your phone and then mute on your thing on the mic? So I think the feedback is causing that problem. If you put a mute, it's coming from you, that noise. Put a there is a mic there. If you put on your system, if you put a mute on it, you can see it. Yeah. Let me play the video. That's much easier. I'm going to play that video that instead of talking about it,
correlation with the
video.
antioxidant activity in your body. By monitoring antioxidant levels may help you to prevent
Okay. I hope it works.
His name is long with the numerous alphabets, but get used for it
I can't hear
because the next
anything.
few decades belongs to this man. He is descending from heavens
Can you hear anything?
to destroy cancer. Just not cancer, he is omnipresent in every field: science, medicine, technology, engineering, and even theology.
This is
Welcome to the world of Raman gadgets. Raman probe.
I'm giving
Point
up on
Raman probe to anyone and just click flash,
this video is
just
not
as you
playing.
do
Okay,
on your
forget about
phone.
the video. I'm going to do a quick presentation and coming back to you. Okay, so yeah, God, I'm done for. I need a margarita. Just why it is. Okay. Why it is doing that? I am so frustrated with this. No, it's not letting me do it. I don't understand. 1 second. Yeah. I am going to give up on it. Okay. Anyway, that is I'm going to present very quickly. The Raman applications are healthcare applications. That is a drug. His applications are all over in medicine, in cancer diagnostics, and in nanomedicine, and in clinical biology, in pathology, and forensics. You can see everywhere is medicines. I tell you who is that guy is. But the game is are you smarter than a fifth grader? There is a game they used to play. That is a game I just, if you remember or not, a few years ago, Jeff Foxworthy is a redneck comedian. He used to play, he used to come on shows. The show is called Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? The question is why is sky is blue, or even our own kids will be asking you, or might have asked you, or your kids will be asking you. So why ocean is blue? All these questions are, they looks, but to be honest with you, the answer is not that simple. It is a little complicated, as you know. It is no, it is just doing all these
Gives instant
crazy
result
headaches.
that person has a cancer or
Yeah.
not. No elaborate testing, no other diagnostic testing
It is based
required.
on.
Cancer detection in seconds.
I did not even put this one. I am going to give up. It is okay. I'm going to finish at least the Riley scattering. It's called. What it is that there is a lot of atmosphere. If you go to the because of the particles, the nitrogen, and then the atmosphere itself, and there's a lot of pollutants, a lot of dust. All of them are in the atmosphere. When the sun hits those particles, particularly, as you know, we have the white light has a red, orange, blue, yellow, indigo, violet, yellow. That combination of 7 of them, the combination comes to and hits the particles. But in certain wavelength of the blue, particularly blue or ray out of the white light consists of all the 7 colors. The blue wavelength is exactly sometimes matches the dust particles. When it matches, it scatters completely elastic. That's called elastic scattering. It completely scatters the blue light. So that see the sky. That is the reason you actually, that's called Lord Rayleigh. You discover that it's called a Rayleigh scattering. In the evening, it's different. In the evening, the rays go through a lot more atmosphere. That's why you see red in this one. So it is basically the reason you see the sky is blue is that it is a scattering of the light, the blue light from the sun. It takes the blue light and scatters across the sky. That's why it's not blue. So what is the next? Yeah. So what was England to India? Maybe I'll sit down and do it better there. Maybe this is I can do a little bit better. Yeah. It was England to India. This was in 1929. He was 1921. He was traveling from England to India. He went to the conference. His name is Chandrasekhar. I tell you his name a little bit. Chandrasekhar Venkataraman is not my name, but just I got part of his name. Part of his name is in 1921. He was traveling. He saw the ocean is blue. He thought, a lot of people until that time, they believed that ocean is blue because it's a reflection of the sky. But some extent is true, but he was not convinced about that. That could be the light interacts with the water molecules, is creating the dust in the ocean that is creating the blue light. That is actually is not the reflection of the sky. That's what he thought. That's why you invented is oh God. Okay. Okay, again. This is never do that again. This is the last time I'm going to use iPad. Oh no, I'm having a lot of problems with it. Okay, no, other way around supposed to be. Let me see that. Okay, oh no, but anyway. I'm going to do next time, definitely not here. I'm going to go back to California by Wednesday. I'm done. This is not working out very well. Okay. It's supposed to be, yeah, why? I don't know. I don't know why it is doing that. I want to bring, yeah, I'm done. I don't think I can manage this one. This is really technically strangest thing that I do. Okay. But anyway. I'm done. Okay, you can listen to that. 60 miles above the earth, if you go sun and stars, you can see both of them actually. That is a very interesting concept. That is a so he was yeah, that is called Raman scattering. Actually, what I'm saying is the sunlight falls on the ocean and then interacts with the water molecules and the dust molecules inside the ocean and reflects it. That's it. And then scatters that blue light. That is called Raman scattering. You found out it's called Raman scattering. Actually, 1 in 1 million photons does. Left side I show you perfect scattering that you see morning skies, morning sunset, sunrise, evening sunset. All of them are Rayleigh scattering. In the Raman scattering it interacts with the molecules. That is a special about it. And then it either gains energy or loses energy. That's what that called. Raman scattering is called that scattering. If I can play this thing, I'm going to play. Let me see if I can play this video. No.
Raman pan. Raman pan, point and click at the finger and tell you the blood sugar levels instant.
Is it playing
No
the
more
video?
shedding of blood drops by millions of diabetic patients. Raman scanner. Just place your hand gently on the Farmanex Raman scanner. It gives you the fruit and vegetable intake and in correlation with the antioxidant activity in your body. By monitoring antioxidant levels may help you to prevent some diseases. Raman inspector.
Nightmare today. Anyway, I'm going to finish up quick. That's it. So Raman scattering was approved, is like a John Hopkins, actually, the physicist approved Robert Wood. Robert Wood, his name is the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation. Is one of them, I think. So Raman won the Nobel Prize for 1930. He won the Nobel Prize for the Raman scattering. A particular scattering. If light falls on matter and interacts with it and then reflects it is one of the things it does. So Raman video, forget about the video. That's just so it is a rotational vibrational spectrum. It works on a rotational vibrational spectrum, actually, Raman spectroscopy. But anyway, I'm going to skip all of those things. 1 in 1 million photons are the Raman scattering. So it went for a while. Nobody cared about Raman spectroscopy. The 1960s, the laser came in the invention in the Bell Labs. They invented the laser. The lasers, that amplification of the laser created a Raman effect, much more effective about that. And then I'm going to do my best. I'm losing my patience, but I have to do the best. So the revolution molecular imaging is surface enhanced scattering is called surface enhanced scattering. Raman spectroscopy. It is one of the powerful. What they do is they take a biological sample. For example, our pathology, one single cell. You can take our cells, then put a gold nanoparticles on the top of it, and then gold nanoparticles. It can amplify the signal back, because the Raman signal is not strong. So you can make it a better signal through that one. So what is the advantage of that? You can learn single molecule pathology inside. Is what's going on. It's a molecular diagnostics is wonderful with the Raman spectroscopy. For example, you can do, there is a province in China, Fujian province in China, they eat a lot of salted fish. They have this kind of a throat cancer that they get, or the throat or nose ENT cancer, some cancer she can tell, the doctor can tell us, Mercado, but some kind of a cancer it causes that because of salted fish. They wanted to test it. They wanted to use a saliva. The user's Raman spectroscopy, you can spit on it and then can immediately tell whether they have the cancer or not. That is the situation there. But anyway, the next one is where saliva infectious diseases you can measure through Raman spectroscopy. Just a saliva, you can use a saliva through Raman spectroscopy. You can find a lot of things with it, and then so it is basically COVID. One of the things they want to develop in the COVID, they did develop actually COVID testing with the saliva is like a special lab. So there are a lot of instruments came out, the Raman probes, Raman pen, Raman inspector. There's a lot of things came out from Raman spectroscopy. Sorry about that. Today was not my best things I'm doing. Particularly, Raman spectroscopy is very useful in the brain tumor imaging, particularly in surgeries. Professor neurosurgeon John Hopkins, Professor Henry Brem used a Raman probe to investigate the brain surgery, the lighten up. You can see the tumor much more clear, cell by cell. That is that powerful Raman probes are. Is a probe. Raman breast cancer is one of the things is the biochemical changes through vibration spectrum. It can change, it can detect 10 years in advance. Because it can detect the vibrations of each molecule and distinguish the vibrations of each molecule. So Raman spectroscopy is very powerful, is going to be in the future, Raman spectroscopy. Then there is a lot of several Raman probes are there that can be useful. Sherlock, for example, in the Alien in Mars, they're using a Raman probe to find out whether there is alien life or not. Scanning habitable environmental environments with that's a long name, but it is the rover Perseverance rover is carrying the Sherlock, that the Raman spectroscopy. So to check the life in the last one, I'm going to give it to you fast and quick. What they did was, there is actually is in the video, but I cannot play the video, unfortunately. I don't know what's wrong with this nonsense, but this technology is crazy. But what they found out is you can use the Raman spectroscopy to measure, for example, what they did was in Spain, in the Cantabria Mountains, there is a church. It is degraded through the centuries by rituals. They do a lot of lamps and all those oil lamps and everything. They degraded. So at the time there is no pictures or photographs. So how do you know? How do you restore the original architecture? So what they did was they used a Raman spectroscopy to restore the church original colors, the vibrant colors of the original colors of the church in the 13th century church. Can you believe that? And I'm going to blow your mind, another one, this one. They wanted to find out whether you can capture Jesus talking or not. I tell you how they do it. It's a wild speculation, but I tell you how during the construction of these churches, in the first century churches, these it's a wild speculation, it's not, so those times, beginning of those times, that when they're building during the Jesus alive, building the churches, at that time, or the next generation, building the churches, the vibrations, their voices can be locked up in the vibrational spectrum. That's why they can extract that vibrational spectrum, can hear the voices. That's one of the wild speculation. You can do that. We don't know. We don't have the technology 100%, but theoretically it exists. It is possible. The next one is they found a 2,000-year-old scripture that is in the paper, they call papyri, I think papyri. That's a paper, basically came out of the Latin, I think. In that one, it mentioned Jesus was married in that scripture somewhere. But how do you know that it's 2,000-year-old? Somebody made it up and during the process. So they wanted to use the Raman spectroscopy, can tell by molecular spectroscopy it does, by atomic levels, vibrational rotational spectrum, it can detect whether it is possible, whether it is of Jesus that text was written during the Jesus or not. In fact, they found out is written during the time of Jesus, that was written. So you take the conclusion. I'm not an expert in I'm not a Christian. I don't know the whole process, but that's what it says, that theology, Raman spectroscopy, not only does a medicine, engineering, and then it does a lot of things, but it is one of the speculation is that Jesus was married, because Raman spectroscopy was that scripture. It says that he was married during the time, and that validated that is the time it is written, during he was alive. So, so you make your own conclusions. But Raman spectroscopy is going in an extraordinary speed. It is doing a lot of things in the medicine. It is diagnostics. Vanderbilt, Stanford, they use it to get the contours among the cancerous cells in the these things. You know, a lot of GIST labs in the Vanderbilt uses for the stomach cancers to find out. You know, particularly certain cancers you can find much easier with a Raman spectroscopy. So Raman spectroscopy is an amazing an amazing discovery by Raman. Is a third century is a last century scientist. Is he says that ask the right questions and the nature will open the doors for to her secrets. I always do that, and I'm glad to carry his part of his name, but I'm not as smart as him. But I tell you, it is one of the most powerful discoveries in the this 20th century. Thank you for watching. Then thank you for watching. This let me bring Dr. Mercado today with all my struggles with the technology. Goodness. Thank you, Dr. Mercado, being a patient with me. You got to have a lot of patience, right? With this, what is going on? Can you
Yeah. Yes,
okay?
I'm here.
So tell me, how do the people can reach you? What is your email and what is your website?
Sure, they can reach me at my website. It's ADHD-lifecoach.com, or they in there they have a contact me page, so they can contact me through there. But my email is overachieve with ADHD at gmail.com. And I also have a podcast. The podcast is called Beyond ADHD, A Physician's Perspective. So you're welcome to tune in there, and I would love to hear from you. Hope you're doing well.
Yeah, let me try again one more time. I hope I can bring you to the okay. God. Okay. So what do you think of this frustration that I get? Is the frustration or ADHD? I don't know. Both are together for me. You know, I paid a price for the ADHD. I am pretty sure I'm one of those candidates that went through these problems. Um, you know that the people don't understand why I'm so smart, why I do a lot of things right, and then certain things I do so stupid. I am the victim of myself. Certain things I am a candidate for the ADHD candidate. My ex-wife tells me all the times. Maybe that's the reason she became my ex-wife. I don't know. So, but anyway, thank you for joining with us. Thank you for joining with all of you. I'm done for today. Yeah, thank God. I'm going to take not a one margarita, two margaritas today. I'm done. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining, Dr. Mercado.
Hey, but look, you were persistent and you got the task done. So that's one of the qualities of ADHD, right? Despite the frustration, you did it.
Yeah, I did it. Okay. Thank you all. Thank you for joining. Good night. Happy Thanksgiving. You know, don't get frustrated. Don't fight with the family members. You all be happy and happy Thanksgiving. Good night, all of you. That's I don't even know how to leave this.